Hello and welcome to the Damp Show with me, Damp Sam. This property, we came to do a survey on it yesterday, and I was that busy doing my survey, doing my testing, that I forgot all about doing a film and showing you what these issues are, because I've always said that rising damp is very rare, and I'm going to show you the rising damp in this property. And I've already wrote a report and sent it to the person who commissioned it, and it's an interesting property because there's a lot of different types of damp going off. Now, let me come in here because you might not be able to see me, so that might be a bit better. Can you see me there? Can you see me now? Probably better off that way. Yeah, so the person that bought this house is from down south, and he's an investor. When I sent him a report, he sent me an email back saying he bought this off a deal sourcer. So he bought this property off a deal sourcer that told him that it would dry. Now, first impression that I can see when I come in is I know that there's been some work already carried out, some damp work, and there's a lot of different issues. So I'll take you into the front room first, and I'll just go through everything. I'll go through all different types of dampness. This is a terrace property, and this is an end terrace, and that wall there on my right, that is where the terrace used to go carry on, and then at some point in past they've taught rest at terrace down. There's a church there now, and for some reason they've got stuff stored against that wall, but it's a higher ground level on outside, which whoever did survey before has missed. So at the bottom of this wall, on this, so to the left of this, so bottom of that wall is slightly earth retaining by a couple of courses of brickwork. And when I was saying that rising damp is rare, this is a property that has got actual rising damp. So that is your salt band. You see that? So you've got a salt, there's like a band of discoloration at the top there. I'll just show you where it is. So I'll just point to it there. And you can see it better on that wall. So can you see it? And some damp work's been done, but you can see what we call a salt band, and that's where water from the ground has rose up, so it's gone up through capillaries, and where it evaporates out at wall, that's where your salt band accumulates. You've got it, you can see it there. Now, as far as readings are concerned, let me just tell you this. So we know somebody's already done some damp work, because bottom part of this wall is a plasterboard, and I'm wondering if they've put a membrane on there behind plasterboard. Top bit there, so you get it's solid further up. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is the salt band, and it's basically all of it property. So we got some dry bits here, and that's only because wherever they've stuck it on with is probably below skirting, but so these are readings there, and then it drops off there, and then as you get further up it's wet, and that's because it looks to me like they've been dabbed on with drywall. We'll know more if we come to do it. On chimney breast, see discoloration there, so you've got some sulfate salts. sulfate salt contamination on here. And this back wall, oh, it is wet. Yeah, I might have to redo that bit. It's going to be awkward at the back of there, but we'll sort it. It's a solid floor. This is what I do to when I'm trying to find out whether it's a solid or a timber floor. It's a little sand dance. So that's all I do, and you can normally tell and hear whether it's got a hollow sound to it. Solid, so it's solid all the way through. And as well as having rising damp, it's also got bridging issues as well, where the plaster, I think, is touching the floor, and I think whatever they've stuck these boards on with is touching floor as well. aka where you get like these bits. Hang on, stick this on. I've just gone straight through that. So you see it's salt band there. Nah, there at bottom there, that is more lateral dampness. There you go again. There we go. It's just plasterboard, but with some sulfate salts. And then in this corner here, if you look at skirting, you've got some rot. So that's just all cubed. We've got some mould. But I'll show you in here, if I can get it open. In this cupboard, we've got some starts of mine or cellar fungus. I think it might be cellar fungus. It does look like cellar fungus down here. And it just smells mouldy, really mouldy. And again, if you look, that plasterboard is sat on floor. You can see there, and that's where we get bridging. One of the things what's been done, in my eyes as well, is they've put what's supposed to be a damp proofing system on up to about 1 metre, and if they have drilled and injected it, they've not done it really well. So in places the damp has not stopped coming up. And what I think they've done on this back wall is, because it's a higher ground level on the other side, they've not drilled and injected it at the correct level, which should be above the ground level on the other side. And then bottom of this wall, which is earth retaining, needed to have a waterproofing system on it. And I don't think that's been done. I think they've just, if they have drilled and injected, they've just done it on that bottom course and just done it wrong. So you can see at bottom there, bridging. And then other thing is not knocking it off high enough. So if they've gone to 1 metre and they've hacked it off, even if they've put a damp course in that wall, if the moisture that's in the wall after they've put the DPC in still continues to rise, then if you've not hacked it off high enough, which is 300 millimeters after the last detected signs of dampness, then it will rise above the system that you've put on. And that's what's happened in a couple of places as well. So until we actually rip everything out and take everything off, we're not going to know what system's been used underneath, because it's not a destructive survey. In here, again, you can see whatever they've put on walls is touching floor. It's all tiled. It's probably wet behind units, but I mean, the brand new units, so what you could probably do is leave them in place and sort any damp behind it when you change kitchen and just do up to it, or you pay to have that took out, which is going to be a big expense on top of what you're paying already, and then redo it, and then you have to retile it. So it's going to be down to what the guy what he decides to do. So that's what you've got. So a deal sourcer, I mean, I don't know what terms and conditions that they've got when they do source a deal for somebody. I don't know ins and outs. Basically, I know that they look for properties and they'll put a package together. So they'll maybe put an offer on it, get offer accepted, and then they'll go to an investor and say, look, we've got this, we've had this accepted, it's X amount, and then they'll put their fees on top. I don't know ins and outs. And I don't know whether they have to sign some terms and conditions which says that they have to do their own due diligence and have a survey done before the sale, which they should do. But I think he's going back to deal sources and asking, because he says that they said this property were dry. Now, it might have been dry when they sold him it, because it does look as if somebody's been in and done some work. So it might have been dry because that work might have only just been done and then it been redecorated. So they've come in and looked and it's like this. And this is what tends to happen with properties that people flip. They'll do them up as cheaply as possible and they'll look alright for a couple of months, and then as that damp carries on rising, sulfate salts come out. When it's stood during winter and inside your property is really humid, the sulfate salts will absorb moisture because they're hygroscopic as well as ground salts, nitrates and chlorides. They're hygroscopic, so they'll absorb moisture from air. This is why when you see these these pots, what people get to put on windowsills, which they say it'll take all the condensation out of air, it's basically salt, and because salt absorbs moisture. But what you tend to find is these little pots. We go in properties and people's got about 20 lined up on windowsills. They're just full of water because they never change them. They just leave them full of water. Which what happens then is once they're filled with water, that water will then evaporate back out and back into the atmosphere. So it's kind of a cycle. So this is a problem that you've got when you're buying a property and you've not had a survey done on it. So a damp and timber survey, a specialist damp and timber survey, not a RICS surveyor who's not a specialist, not a RICS surveyor who's just a general surveyor who goes in with his meter and can't interpret the readings, that don't know what to look for, that just says, back again, so that just says my meter's gone off. Then so they are supposed to advise that you get a damp and timber specialist survey that's a member at Property Care Association, that's qualified, relevantly qualified to carry out these surveys. Now some are better than others. There's some independents that are not up to scratch and miss things, and that's only because they've not actually worked and done the job. So you get like a surveyor like me who's done the job, who does the job, knows what to look for, knows what it's like when things are hacked off, knows what systems to use, what different systems to use and what to put where, whereas your independents have just been told this is for that, this is for that, this is for that, and they're not up to date with all modern systems. They're not up to date with prices, they don't know what prices, and they're not supposed to put prices in. So that's your problem with you kind of independent surveyor. Some independent surveyors are good, some are better than others, some are outstanding. So I'm not knocking all independent surveyors. It's just that, as you know, I think that they should have to go on site for at least a couple of weeks and get to know what happens when you're doing preservation work. So, and again, not all damp surveyors are brilliant as well. So you've got them that work for bigger companies, national companies, and some are dog shit. Because I get their reports and I know what they're like. So it's about doing your own due diligence. This property has got a extractor fan, and it's got one in bathroom which is above here, but I don't know what type it is. You've got like a switch here, so yeah, it's come on, so it's working. And it's not on a timer, so when I've turned it off, it goes straight off. And problem with ventilation like that is, it's down to tenant or homeowner to switch that on and off when they're cooking. And 9 times out of 10, they're not going to do it. And this is why we recommend continuously running, low carbon, and I recommend push-pull fans. Because a push-pull fan, an alternating fan, will circulate the air inside a bathroom and a kitchen. So I always recommend them. And the continuous running, so they're going to be on all the time, 24 hours, so you're not stuck with basically what they've got there. Now that's off, it's just a hole in wall. So when they forget to turn that on and off, then there's got cold air coming in on a night. If it's raining, damp air, and that's one of the issues that people don't really tell you about. So when I came upstairs, we were only instructed to do a survey downstairs, but because I'm that type of surveyor, I came up to have a look, and you've got this area, a sulfate salt contamination at top. So obviously there's been an issue outside where wall is. So basically they've cut gable end, they've cut the end off, and at some point there's been an issue on verge, and then same out here. There's been an issue on verge, and you've got that staining on ceiling. It's got a yellow tinge to it, so we know that there's some sulfates in there. Which need sorting out. I mean, a bit of ventilation. I'd change that to a pacifier vent so that you're not getting cold air coming in. And then we've got another fan on this wall. Kicks in straight away, which is good. Goes off straight away, which is bad. Well, if that's not working, you've got a hole in the wall. And I've had a look at vent outside, and it's just all chewed up. So so that's another problem. I mean, this is a death trap, innit? Imagine coming and be pissed up, and you're going straight downstairs head first, aren't you? That is a weird. Oh, and little narrow steps. You don't want your mum to be having to come down these stairs, would you? So you've got timber on there. So I just thought I'd show you what happens when we come on a survey. And like I said, I forgot to bring. Well, I did bring my camera. I forgot to do a film, which I thought would be interesting for you to see a salt band, to see actual rising damp that I've not seen for years. So when people say that they've got rising damp, and it's quite they get it. I think that they're kidding. So yeah, I hope you found it interesting. And if you want any advice on free ebooks and things like that, if you want to I have some information on mould, damp proofing, waterproofing, some free ebooks on dampsam.com. If you want to know how to do the express damp proofing system, go to dampsam.com. You can buy the course that tells you how to install it and everything. Ideal for DIYers if you wanted to learn to patch things up, tells you everything you need. And ideal for plasterers, people from trades that's wanted to get into this lucrative preservation industry. So I'm going to leave you there, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Anybody that wants to get in contact with me, and you need any surveys doing in the Yorkshire or that area, just get in contact with me, dampsam@thedampshow.co.uk. You can email me, or if you want to WhatsApp me, 07973 748 566, and yeah, get in touch with one of the best. Damp Sam. See you later, bye now.